welcome. You are watching World Business Report here on News 9 Live. I am Krishna Kumar. We begin with a watershed moment in Hollywood. Actors in the US entertainment industry have finally come together, ratifying a comprehensive agreement that not only resolves the simmering labor disputes that went into over 100 days of strikes, but it also ushers in a new era of collaboration and mutual understanding within Hollywood. This landmark decision, achieved with some intense negotiations, marks a significant milestone in Hollywood so far and the way forward.
6 months of Hollywood strikes came to an end Tuesday. Members of the SAG-AFTRA union approved a 3-year contract with major studios. It ends a long-running labour dispute which brought film and television productions to a halt. The union said 78% of those who voted supported the deal with Netflix, Walt Disney and key studios. The new contract provides for pay rises and streaming bonuses. Union leaders said that amounted to more than $1 billion over 3 years. It also includes guardrails around the use of artificial intelligence in filmmaking, though some actors complained the AI protections needed to go further. The deal requires studios to obtain permission from celebrities to use their digital likenesses and to pay them for their use. Critics argue the language allows creation of synthetic performers that could take away the need for many human actors. Union members walked off the job in July and reached a tentative agreement with major studios in November. Actors started returning to work immediately after the preliminary deal.
1 day longer.
Film and TV writers also went on strike for 5 months this year until they agreed a new contract in October. Hollywood studios welcomed the contract ratification and said the agreement offered historic gains and protections.
And we move on to Wall Street from Hollywood. Wall Street witnessed a day of tumultuous fluctuations in trade as mega-cap stocks in the US market and the energy sector stocks dominated the trading session, steering the market towards a closing bell that witnessed a decline. Amidst the ebb and flow of the Wall Street, markets grappled with the influence of prominent players and sectoral shifts as well. More details in this Reuters report.
U.S. stocks closed down on Wednesday despite employment data providing evidence the Federal Reserve's plan to slow the economy is working. The Dow dipped 0.2%, the S&P 500 shed 0.4%, and the Nasdaq lost nearly 0.6%. The ADP National Employment Report showed private payrolls increase less than expected in November, which could help the Fed bring down inflation. While investors often cheer such news, Chris Carey, portfolio manager at Carnegie Investment Counsel, says this week they're focused more on Friday's non-farm payrolls report for November, which should offer even greater clarity on the Fed's monetary policy path.
We saw in the October release that we had a much better number than expected. And I think that was mainly one of the bigger drivers that has caused the recent rally that we've seen this quarter. I think that if we continue to get another number below 200,000, that's going to come right before the Fed's meeting, the final meeting for the year. I think the market is expecting that we will see a third hold in terms of what the FOMC is planning to do. But until then, I think the market is just waiting with bated breath to see what that report will show and how that will dictate Fed policy at the next meeting.
Declines in energy stocks also weighed on the major indexes, with oil prices dropping 4% as a larger-than-expected rise in U.S. gasoline inventories exacerbated worries about fuel demand. Megacaps also declined, with Nvidia losing more than 2%, while Amazon shed more than 1%. In other company news, tobacco giants Altria Group and Philip Morris slipped 2.8% and 1.6% respectively, after UK peer British American Tobacco said it will take a $35.5 billion hit from writing down the value of some U.S. cigarette brands. And Campbell's Soup rallied 7% after the food seller beat quarterly profit expectations, helped by higher prices for its packaged meals and snacks.
Now, time now to take the focus and put it on the world of artificial intelligence. From Elon Musk planning to raise over $1 billion to Microsoft saying that superintelligence is not exactly around the corner. Some of the week's biggest stories from the world of artificial intelligence in this report.
From Elon Musk planning to raise $1 billion to Microsoft saying superintelligence isn't around the corner. This is Generation AI. Elon Musk's artificial intelligence startup plans to raise up to $1 billion in funding through an equity offer. xAI is developing its chatbot Grok to rival ChatGPT and competing products from tech giants like Google. Nvidia says it's working with Washington to make sure its new chips comply with controls on exports to China. CEO Jensen Huang didn't comment on Reuters reports that the firm has had to delay new semiconductors, crafted especially for the country. Superintelligent AI, smarter than any human, won't come soon. That's according to Microsoft President Brad Smith, who says such technology could actually be decades away. But he says now is the time to focus on making sure AI always remains safe and under human control. The chair of the U.S. Senate's Intelligence Committee says next year's presidential election could see a perfect storm of fake content.
AI can make the misinformation, disinformation spread at a speed and scale that's unprecedented.
Democrat Mark Warner says a promise to label AI-generated content won't be enough if it's voluntary. And Google's DeepMind AI has predicted the structure of more than 2 million new materials. The firm says almost 400,000 could soon be made, which could lead to the production of better performing batteries, solar panels, and computer chips.
Nvidia, a huge giant as far as the making of chips, semiconductor chips is concerned, is now at the intersection of technology and geopolitics as it collaborates closely with the US government in a delicate balance navigating the stringent controls on exporting of America-made chips to China. Now, this strategic alliance underscores the intricate web of international relations shaping the tech industry's trajectory.
Nvidia is working with the US government to ensure its latest chips comply with controls on exports to China. That's according to Chief Executive Jensen Huang on Wednesday. The firm has commanded more than 90% of China's $7 billion market for AI chips. But analysts say the latest US curbs create an opportunity for rivals to muscle in. Huang didn't comment on earlier Reuters reports that his company was delaying the launch of new chips especially crafted for China. He would only say that Nvidia was working closely with Washington to ensure its products complied with the export controls. When posting its November earnings, the chipmaker warned that it expects a steep drop in fourth quarter sales to China as a result of the restrictions. Huang noted that the country normally accounts for about a fifth of Nvidia's sales, but he didn't say what the new number might be. He described Chinese tech giant Huawei as a formidable rival. Separately, Huang said Nvidia was in talks with Singapore about a big investment there. The city-state has been developing its own AI model, dubbed Sea Lion.
Away from technology to the world of automobiles, where the investors of Volkswagen have intensified their call for heightened scrutiny after an audit revealed that Volkswagen's manufacturing is related to forced labor from the Xinjiang province of China. This demand for increased transparency resonates through across industries, not just the auto industry. What is this all about? This report tells you more.
Volkswagen shareholders demanded the auto giant show more transparency on Wednesday. The comments came from Union Investment and Decker Investment, two key stakeholders in the company. It reflects ongoing concerns over Volkswagen's engagement in China's Xinjiang region. Rights groups have documented abuses, including forced labour in detention camps. Beijing denies all such charges. On Tuesday, Volkswagen said a long-awaited independent audit had found no evidence of forced labour at its jointly owned site in Xinjiang. Although the auditor further said the challenges of data collection in China were widely known. The investigation included on-site interviews and inspection of employee contracts and salary payments for the site's 197 employees. Union Investment called the audit a step in the right direction, but warned VW had not yet reached its goal. They argued there is still a lot to do and that a functioning complaints management system must be established. Even so, investors liked what they heard about the audit. VW shares were up close to 2.7% on Wednesday morning, helping drive the German DAX stock index to an all-time high.
Now, the EV or electric vehicle revolution is happening as we speak, and it's accelerating the inevitable decline of, quote-unquote, the oil age. As EVs surge ahead, reshaping the entire automotive landscape globally, the future edges closer to a transformative redefinition of transportation and energy consumption.
At the COP28 climate conference in Dubai, there is alarm about the world's addiction to fossil fuels. But as electric vehicle sales surge, might the end of the oil age be closer than delegates think? Experts are bringing forward their predictions for so-called peak oil, the moments when crude consumption finally starts to fall. The International Energy Agency, or IEA, now expects that moment to come in 2030, 10 years earlier than it previously forecast. Oil giant BP got to do with how we get about. Transport accounts for about 60% of oil demand, according to the IEA. But EVs are now expected to account for close to half of global vehicle sales by the end of the decade. The Cybertruck from Elon Musk's Tesla is just one of many new offerings.
And finally, the future will look like the future.
China is leading the way on sales, partly thanks to big subsidies for new zero-emission vehicles. EV sales in the US are far behind, but rising. Some feared the electric revolution could run out of juice. Ford, General Motors and other big names have recently delayed or scrapped plans to ramp up output of EVs. They say rising labour costs and high interest rates are making the cars too costly for consumers. Many countries are also short of charging stations and subsidies could be phased out. Even so, the cost of batteries is falling fast, and that could make EVs cheaper than regular cars. While that has some experts optimistic, there's a long way to go. The IEA says EV sales need to hit 70% of the total markets by 2030, if the world is to hit targets set by current climate accords.
Now, keeping it with riding on the coattails of optimistic growth forecast, global travel giant TUI is experiencing a meteoric rise in its own shares, and that's instilled a renewed sense of confidence among TUI's shareholders. Now, this is interesting because TUI is one of the biggest travel companies in the world, and optimism in the biggest travel company could mean a lot for the global travel industry in the new year 2024.
TUI shares soared around 13% on Wednesday. Investors were in the mood to buy the stock after Europe's biggest travel operator delivered positive news. TUI said it expects operating profit to jump by a quarter next year. The rise comes after profit more than doubled this year on strong demand for holidays, cruises and hotel stays. The firm posted underlying profit of $1.1 billion for the year ended September 30th, above 2019 pre-health crisis levels. TUI said Wednesday its bookings were strong for this winter and next summer, and that gave it confidence operating profit would grow by at least 25% this year, with revenue at least a tenth higher. This year, TUI and its rivals have seen big demand as consumers travel after the health crisis. But war in the Middle East and the threat of recession have led to analyst warnings profits may have peaked. TUI also announced a potential blow to the UK. The firm said it has considered delisting from the London Stock Exchange and having a single German listing. It said it made sense to consider a move as more than 3/4 of TUI shares are held by German investors, while 3/4 of trading in its stock was on that market.
Now, in the world of entertainment, everybody is mourning the passing of TV sitcom luminary and legend, Mr. Norman Lear, whose indelible legacy spans generations. Lear's timeless contributions leave an enduring mark, shaping the landscape of television and storytelling for years to come.
Legendary television writer and producer Norman Lear, whose groundbreaking hit comedies including All in the Family and The Jeffersons introduced political and social commentary to the American sitcom, died on Tuesday at the age of 101. His family said in a Facebook post on Wednesday that Lear died at his Los Angeles home of natural causes, adding that he was, quote, surrounded by his family as we told stories and sang songs until the very end.
Every split second of my life got me here. And every split second of yours also. So we better treasure the moment while we're living it.
In interviews with Reuters over the last decade, Lear often stressed the importance of living for the moment.
You look at these people and their long careers, you've watched them having fun being alive always. I mean, if there's a secret, and people always ask, what's the secret? If there's a secret, it is living in the moment and enjoying it.
One of the most influential people in television, Lear won 6 Emmy Awards for his work, which he continued well into his 90s. Lear dominated the country's TV screens in the 1970s and 80s with his sitcoms, which also included Sanford and Son and Maude, shows that addressed race, abortion, and other social issues that had been rarely seen on American television at the time. At one point in the 1970s, Lear had 8 shows on the air with an estimated 120 million viewers, according to Time magazine. In the 80s, Lear shifted focus to establish the liberal activist group People for the American Way to boost voting rights and fight against right-wing extremism.
There's no place on earth I'd rather be than here this moment, and I have a telephone call.
His online obituary said Lear, who was convinced laughter had lengthened his own life, used humor to enrich the lives of others.
Keeping with the world of entertainment, Jamie Foxx, Hollywood actor Jamie Foxx, has emerged from a period of serious health challenges, and he's made a triumphant return to the public eye, making his first public appearance in nearly 6 months. Take a look at this.
So it feels good to be here. I cherish every single minute now. It's different. It's tough when it's almost over, when you see the tunnel. I saw the tunnel, I didn't see the light. It was hot in that tunnel too. I don't know where I was going. Shit, am I going to the right place? I had to go to this facility so I could work out a little bit. And the black lady that was checking me in, because I had my face covered, because I didn't want nobody to know. And at one point she says, well, baby, I'm gonna have to see your face if I'm gonna have to sign you in here. And I took the mask down and she saw me, she said, Lord, she said, Lord have mercy, Jesus. I've been praying for you. And I said, wow. And I knew that gave me an indication that once I did get out of all of this, I was going to be all right.
Now, away from that, it was a bittersweet celebration that ensued as the cast of The Crown commemorated the series' finale. Take a look at this.
Everybody to the right, please.
Well, it's bittersweet always. It has been an extraordinary experience to work on for everybody, I think. But, it's got to come to an end. But I'm so proud of the work in this final season. It was such a special production, and every actor who worked on it says that it's their favourite job they've ever had. And it just had a really lovely, warm, respectful, grown-up feel about it. And so, yeah, it makes a difference. Professional.
And at the top, please.
Mixed emotions. On the one hand, you know, it's been a lot of work, so I'm tired. But on the other hand, it's been a family that's grown, you know, that I've lived with now and worked with for 10 years. So, and I've really enjoyed it, and I've loved how the show has gone down around the world. So, as an artist, you miss that, you know.
Well, let's see how soon we can finish all those latest episodes of The Crown for all those who are watching. But keeping it to the world of entertainment, it's an immersive showcase that's taking place in London that delves into the celestial fascinations of beloved Hollywood actor Tom Hanks, whose profound love for space and exploration is taking center stage.
In the 50,000 years of human history, just 12 of us have traveled from our Earth to walk on another celestial body.
Oscar-winning actor Tom Hanks's new immersive London show hopes to give people that experience.
3, 2, 1...
The Moonwalkers, a journey with Tom Hanks at the Lightroom Gallery space, looks at the first moon landings of the Apollo missions from 1969 to 1972 and their successor, NASA's human spaceflight program Artemis. Hanks narrates the 50-minute showpiece.
This show is about the wonder of the moon and the amazing creatures that have made it possible for members of their race in order to walk upon it.
Archive footage of past missions as well as interviews with the crew of the upcoming Artemis 2 lunar flyby project on the gallery walls. It will be the first crewed voyage around the moon in more than 50 years. Pilot Victor Glover will be the first black astronaut to be sent on a lunar mission.
We've been handed this amazing legacy, and hopefully we can just contribute to it, but then hand that stick off to the next mission when it's time for them.
The Artemis program envisions building a long-term presence on the moon. Hanks played Space Commander Jim Lovell in the 1995 film Apollo 13, about the troubled space mission forced to abort a planned moon landing after an oxygen tank explosion. It hasn't stunted his desire to go into space.
These guys are going to go around the far side. They will be in the shadow of the moon. And I want to know how clear the stars and the galaxy is once you can look out the window of a spacecraft and not have the sun blocking your vision.
The show opens to the public on Wednesday and runs until April 2024.
Right, and we end with a gala from Hollywood. It's the Women in Hollywood red carpet, which saw the stars dazzle in a glamorous parade in a celebration of talent and elegance. Have a look.
If you look at tonight's honorees, it's the most diverse list they've ever had. And that is the world that we live in. And so it's nice to see it reflected back to us in a magazine, in a beauty magazine. That never happens.
And with that, it's a wrap here on this edition of World Business Report. Thank you so much for watching. This is Krishna Kumar signing off.
Hello everyone, Namaskar. I'm music composer Ricky Cage. 3-time Grammy Award winner and a United Nations Goodwill Ambassador. And you're watching me on First Person